In this video, we're looking at how to solve multi-step linear equations. So a multi-step equation is, just like the name states, an equation that is going to take you multiple steps to solve. And the reason that happens is because we have multiple operations we need to undo. So if I just look at this problem, what I see is I see a division here. I see a multiplication here between the 5 and the x. I see an addition, and already we have 3 operations that we are going to need to undo. So when you see multiple steps that need to be undone, you are solving a multi-step equation. Now, most frequently, the question I get is, how do I know what to undo first? And the easiest way to do that, if you're unsure of what to do, is you're going to list out the order of operations of things happening to x over here on whatever side of the problem x is on. You're going to list out the order of operations that you see, and then you're going to undo them in reverse. So looking at this problem, we see division, we see multiplication, we see addition. So we need to write out our order of operations and then undo it backwards. Now, in this particular problem, because we see a number of items like the 5, the x, the plus sign, and the 35 all on top of a fraction, we need to remember that there are implied parentheses here. So if you have things grouped together, you need to assume they have grouping symbols like parentheses around them. So first thing we're going to do here is we're going to list out the order of operations that we see. So I like to start and I think, parentheses come first, exponents come second, multiplication and division from left to right come third, addition and subtraction from left to right come fourth. So when I look at this problem, what I notice is right off the bat, I have parentheses. So I know that whatever inside of these parentheses here is going to come first. Now, when I look at this problem, I think, there's 2 operations in here. There's a multiplication in here, and there's an addition. And so when you're looking inside parentheses, you have to remember that the order of operations applies inside of parentheses. So we're right now going to focus just on these parentheses here. We're going to look at what's going on in there. Well, we go down the list, we don't see additional parentheses. We don't see any exponents, so now we're looking at multiplication and division. And inside those parentheses, the first thing that I see on my order of operations list is a multiplication of 5. Then from here, the other operation inside of there is a plus 35. Now, if you want to put parentheses around these like this to remind yourself they're in parentheses, that's perfectly fine. But the big thing to note is we started inside the parentheses, and then we applied the order of operations on what was inside those parentheses. Now from here, we can pop back out of the parentheses now that we've taken care of those. We don't see any exponents in the problem. Multiplication and division, we took care of one multiplication, which was the 5 in the top, but I also see a division here. I see a division of 3, so that needs to come next after everything that was in parentheses. And then there's no additional addition and subtraction because the one I took care of was already in parentheses. So what we're going to do from here is we're now going to solve this and undo the order of operations using our order of operations list over here. So we start at the bottom and we undo the division. The opposite of division is multiplication. So we multiply both sides by 3. So here we have 5x plus 35. The 3's undo each other, equals 60. Now, if you don't know what to do next, you look back at your list. The next thing we're undoing is a positive 35 because we're moving up one step. To undo that, we subtract 35 from each side. These are opposite. They result in 0. And so we're left with 60 minus 35 is 25. Then we, again, move up a step. We need to undo that. So we divide by 5. And we find x is equal to 5. And if you need to check your answer, you just take 5, plug it back in here, and it should make your equation true. So let's give this one a try. So again, we're going to look at our order of operations and undo them in reverse. The first thing I'm going to do before I even write out my order of operations is add in any implied parentheses that I think I might need. So I can already see things grouped together on top of this fraction, so I know there are parentheses there. And then when I look around, I don't see anything else. So now I'm ready to write out my order of operations so that I can undo them in reverse. So I'm going to start with my order of operations by just writing down what I know them to be. And first, we look at our parentheses. And when I take a look at the parentheses here, I see that I do have parentheses, and I have two operations inside my parentheses. I have multiplication and I have subtraction. So I need to decide between the multiplication and subtraction what comes first in the order of operations. And remember, order of operations applies inside parentheses. There's no exponents there, but the multiplication, as we can see in our list, comes before the subtraction, so we're going to multiply by 2, subtract 6. And if you need to note that those are in parentheses, that's perfectly fine. So now we've taken care of our parentheses, so we're going to look down next in order of operations, and that says exponents. We don't have any exponents in this problem, so we're then going to look next for a multiplication or division. And we already took care of everything inside the parentheses, so I'm looking for multiplication or division outside of the parentheses. And what I see is I have a division of -4 outside of the parentheses. So that is what would come next. That's the only thing multiplication or division related, so that's done. And then finally, I'm looking for an addition or subtraction outside of the parentheses that hasn't been taken care of yet, which I can see right here is a subtraction of 2. So now what I can do is I'm going to move forward and I'm going to solve this problem by undoing my order of operations in reverse. So now I'm going to note that I'm going backwards. I want to undo the subtraction of 2 first, so I do that by adding 2 to each side. So we have 2x minus 6 in my numerator, -4. These have undone each other because -2 plus 2 is 0. And so here we have it's equal to 10. Then next I need to undo a division of -4, so we're going to multiply by -4. Those undo each other. So we have 2x minus 6 is equal to -40. Then from here we move up a step. We need to undo a -6, so we're going to add 6 to each side. So we have 2x is equal to -34. And then the last thing, we need to undo that multiplication by dividing by 2. And we end up with x is equal to -17. So the more of these you do, the more used to undoing the order of operations you will get. But again, if you're stuck and you don't know what to do, this order of operations list and undoing it backwards can really make a really big difference in helping you see the steps that you need to take.